Okay, let's go through this Unit 3 review. We are preparing for our Unit 3 test that's coming up. Okay, first one, we are going to solve this system of equations, and we can solve it by hand, but I am going to solve it with the calculator using our matrix. And it is ready to put in there. I've got the x's on top of the x's, the y's on top of the y's, the z's on top of the z's, and the constants on top of the constants. So here we go. All right, once you're in your calculator, you're going to go to matrix. So second x to the negative 1. And it didn't do it. Second x to the negative, oh my goodness. Second x to the negative 1. The first time you're in here, you go to edit. The second time you're in here, you go to math. And the last time, you stay on the names. So first time in here, go to edit. This has 1, 2, 3 rows. So I put a 3 here, enter. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So I put a 4 here. This is a 3 by 4 matrix. Okay, in front of the x, I have a 2. So 2, enter. In front of the y, negative 1. Negative 1, enter. In front of the z, a negative 1. So negative 1, enter. And my constant is negative 1. So negative 1, enter. Okay, second row, I've got a 3, enter. A 1, enter. Negative 1, enter. And 2, enter. Last row, I've got a 1, enter. A 1, enter. Negative 5, enter. Negative 8, enter. After you get your 12 numbers in, you have to quit the screen, which is in blue. So I go second mode, and it will quit the screen. So second mode. Okay, I'm going to go back to matrix for the second time. So second x to the negative 1. The second time I'm in here, I go to math, and I'm looking for letter B, RREF. Hit enter. Go back to matrix for the third and final time. Second x to the negative 1. And the last time I'm in here, I stay right here at name A, and I hit enter, and enter one more time. As long as these are 1s on this diagonal, the last column is our answers. So 1, 1, 2. So 1 is the x, 1 is the y, 2 is the z. So it says, submit your answer as an ordered triplet. Use parentheses with a comma between your numbers and no spaces. So comma 1, or I'm sorry, parenthesis 1, comma 1, comma 2, close the parenthesis. And that's how you do it with the matrix. Okay, number 2. We are trying to solve this system of inequalities. So let's just look for this top equation for a second. I know it's a diagonal line. It's ready to graph. I know that negative 3 is the y-intercept. So I'm going to look for negative 3 as a y-intercept. And it looks like graph A has negative 3 as a y-intercept. And the slope's the number in front of the x, so slope is 1. And this looks like it's going up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. So that looks okay. It's a dashed line, which is what this is showing. And greater says shade above, and that is above that line. Okay. If I look at B, remember the y-intercept's supposed to be a negative 3. And does it look like this diagonal line has a y-intercept at negative 3? Nope. Okay, let's look at C. So our diagonal line, okay, it looks like it has a y-intercept at negative 3. It does look like it's going up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. And the shading is above it. Okay, so C is still there. And D, the y-intercept, does look like it's at negative 3. It does look like the slope is up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. And this shading is above that line. Okay, so I was only able to rule out B, but that's okay. All right, absolute value bars. Remember when you see absolute value bars, there's actually 2 equations. And this is a less than symbol, so less than. So the first equation looks just like what you see here. And remember, the second equation always takes the opposite of what's in the absolute value bars and recopies. So whenever you have absolute value bars, you have to set up 2 equations. If it's a less than symbol. Less than, it's an and. This is a greater symbol, great or, it'd be an or problem. Okay, let's get this one ready to graph. So that -1 that's in front, I'm going to divide both sides by -1. And when I do that, y is left by itself. This sign flips because I divided by a negative. And 3 divided by -1 makes -3. Okay, so I want to see who graphed these lines correctly. All right, this is a horizontal line at +3, and this is a horizontal line at -3. So let's see. This one has a horizontal line at -3, but I do not see a horizontal line at +3. So that looks like I can rule that one out. Okay, this one does look like it has a horizontal line at +3 and at -3. And this one looks like it has a horizontal line at +3 and -3. Okay, so now I got to pay attention to symbols. So this one shades below the +3. So let's see. If I go to where y is equal to 3, is the shading below it? Yes. If I go to this one where y is a 3, is the shading that you see below it? Nope. So D's out. So that means our winner chicken dinner is answer choice C. And this one, of course, would shade above. And that is exactly what's happening. It's shading above. So shading down, shading above, and shading above that, which puts all of your answers right in there. Okay, next page. All right, this one, we've got a word problem. So we're just going to have to read through it and see if we can find the correct equations that go with it. Let me shrink this up a little bit. Okay. As a receptionist for a hospital, one of Elizabeth's tasks is to schedule appointments. She allots 60 minutes for the first visit and 30 minutes for a follow-up. The doctor cannot perform more than 8 follow-ups per day. The hospital has 8 hours available for appointments. The first visit costs $120 and follow-up visits cost $70. Okay, so X is representing the number of first visits and Y is representing the number of follow-ups. Okay, well, let's go to this equation right here that says the doctor cannot perform more than 8 follow-ups per day. Okay, so Y is representing the number of follow-ups. So when it says that the doctor can't perform more than 8 follow-ups per day, I know I need to be talking about Y. And if you can't perform more than 8, you could perform exactly 8 or less than 8. So I want to be looking for this equation. And it looks like A has it, C has it, D has it, but B doesn't have it, so B is out. Okay. These all have this X greater than or equal, Y greater than or equal. What that means is X being your number of first visits can't be a negative number because you can't have a negative number of visits. So you could have exactly no visits to the doctor or more than that. And so that's why all of those have that. And then Y is talking about the number of follow-ups. Well, you can't have a negative number of follow-ups. So you could have no follow-ups or more than that. So all of the equations should have that. Okay, so let's go to this other piece. So she allots 60 minutes for the first visit. And remember that X represents the first visit. So 60 minutes for the first visit, X, plus 30 minutes for a follow-up. So the follow-up, remember, is Y. And it says that the hospital has 8 hours available for appointments. Well, since this is in minutes and this is in minutes, I need to convert 8 hours to minutes. So since there's 60 minutes in 1 hour, I need to take 8 times 60, and that puts me at 480 minutes. Okay, so that's how long the hospital has available for appointments, is exactly 480 minutes or less, because that's all that they have available, so you can't go over that. So you can spend exactly 480 minutes on appointments or less than that, but you can't go over it, so it can't be greater. And if you look to see which equation has this one, or which answer choice has this one, it's A. This one has 420, so he's out. This one has the wrong variable with the 30 and the wrong variable with the 60. Also, it has the wrong number, so C is out. So A is our winner. Okay, let's go to number 4. So number 4 says, which of the following points lies in the solution set to the graph system? So remember, the solution is where the shadings overlap. So in this section right here is where all of the solutions are. So if I look for 0, 1, I go up 1. Well, that's not even a solution to this line because it's a dashed line, and that is not in this shaded section where the shadings overlap, so he's out. If I look for negative 2, 2, I go left 2 and up 2, and that puts me right here, and that is not where the two shadings overlap, so he's out. If I go to negative 2, that's left 2, down 2, and that is where the two shadings overlap, so I know that's my winner. If I look at 2, 0, I go right 2 and stay put, and that is not where the two shadings overlap. So this section right here, where the two shadings overlap, that's where all the solutions are, and that's where negative 2 is found. Okay, that one's pretty easy if you know how to do it. Okay, next up. Okay, this is a big one. Susie's Sweet Shop sells chocolate boxes that contain 3 types of chocolate truffles. They've got solid chocolate truffles, they've got cream center chocolate truffles, and they've got chocolate truffles with nuts. Okay, a box containing 5 of each type of truffle costs $41.25. Okay, so I want to be looking for that. So a box containing 5 of each type. So 5 of the solid, 5 of the cream center, and 5 with the nuts costs $41.25. And I see that 2 places. 5 solid, 5 cream, 5 nuts, $41.25. And here it is. 5 of your solid, 5 of your cream, 5 of your nuts, $41.25. This one is subtracting them, but there's 5 of each type in the box, so 5 of these plus 5 of these plus 5 of these, so we don't want subtraction. And this one has you taking $41.25 times 5, and that's not what they said. They said the box containing 5 of those, 5 of those, 5 of those is $41.25, not 5 times that, so A's out. Okay, so B had it right and C had it right. Okay, let's keep reading. A box containing 10 solid chocolate truffles, 5 cream center, and 10 chocolate truffles with nuts costs $68.75. So let's see. 10 solid, 5 cream, 10 with nuts, $68.75. That one's good. And this one says the exact same thing. So that one's good. Okay. And then a box with only 24 truffles, evenly divided between solid chocolate and chocolate truffles with nuts, costs $66. Okay, so this box only has 2 kinds of chocolate in it, the solid chocolate and the chocolate truffles with nuts. So if there's 24 total and it's evenly divided between solid chocolate and chocolate truffles with nuts, that must mean that there's 12 of each. And this one does not say that, but this one does. 12 of the solid, 12 with the nuts, $66. Bing, bing, bing. C's our winner. So it looks overwhelming, but you just go through it slowly and you'll find it. All right, there are a few ways that I could do this problem. I am actually going to put both of these equations in slope-intercept form, but there are other ways that I could do this. I could actually solve this system, and I could solve it by hand. I could solve it with the matrix, but I'm going to just take a little bit of time and put it in slope-intercept form. Okay, so to get y by itself, first I'm going to move the 2x over by subtracting it. So the negative y would still be there. Because I'm subtracting the 2x, it'd be negative 2x, and then I'm not moving the 4, so he just stays positive. Then this negative 1 that's in front, I would have to divide everything by negative 1. And if I do that, the y would become positive, the negative 2x would become positive, and the 4 would become negative. Okay, so there's that equation. Okay, now let's do the same thing with this one. So to get y by itself, I'm going to move the 4x over by subtracting it. So the negative 2y would still be there. To move the 4x by subtracting it, now it's a negative 4x. We're not moving the 6, so he would still be positive. And now I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So if I divide this by negative 2, I just get y. If I divide negative 4 by negative 2, I get a positive 2x. And if I divide 6 by negative 2, I get negative 3. So let's look at these two equations. What do you notice? They have the same slope. Do they have the same y-intercept? Nope. They only have the same slope. And do you know what lines look like if they have the same slope? They are parallel. And when you have parallel lines never touch. So there is no solution, which means this is called inconsistent. Answer choice B. So if only the slope's the same, you've got parallel lines, which never touch, no solution, inconsistent. If these equations would have been identical, then you would have had a line on top of a line, which would be infinitely many solutions, and that would be consistent and dependent. Okay, number 7. Looking at this one, I can see that they're already in slope-intercept form, and it wants to know how many solutions. So first thing I do is I check out my slope. And this one has a slope of 2, and this one has a slope of 4. If the slopes are ever different, so I'm going to make a note of that. Slopes are different. If slopes are ever different, that means the lines are going to intersect. And if lines intersect, they touch one time. So that means there's exactly one solution. So anytime slopes are different, lines are going to intersect, which is exactly one solution. And that's called consistent and independent, if you had to know. Okay, number 8. It says, if the first equation of the system is multiplied by 2, then by what number would you multiply the second equation to eliminate the x? Okay, so it says the first equation is multiplied by 2. Let's just do that. Let's multiply everything in the first equation by 2. Remember to multiply all 3 things. So 2 times 6x is 12x. 2 times negative 5y is negative 10y. And 2 times 21 is 42. So the question is asking, by what number would you multiply the second equation to eliminate the x? So I'm trying to eliminate the x's. So if this one's a positive 12, this one needs to be a what? It needs to be a negative 12. That way, if you add the equations, the x's will shoop, eliminate. So what would you have to multiply this second equation by to make it a negative 12? A negative 3, because negative 3 times 4x makes negative 12x. So that's your answer, negative 3. Okay, next question, number 9. All right, now this one is going to require some graphing. Okay, so I brought along a graph so I can do this. We need to graph these 3 equations and shade them, and then we're going to find the coordinates of the vertices that close in all of the overlapping colors. Okay, so here I go. This first equation is a horizontal line I like to refer to as HOY, horizontal, 0 slope, y equals for the equation. So I'm going to go to where y is a 1, and I'm going to draw myself a horizontal line. And it's solid because there's an equals. And since it says y greater, I shade above. So I'm going to shade everything above my horizontal line. Okay, now the middle equation. This one is going to be diagonal because it has an x and a y. X and y makes a diagonal line, but it's not solved for y yet. So to get y by itself, how would we move the minus x away? Well, we would have to add it. To move something to the other side, you have to do the opposite. If it's negative, you add. If it's positive, you subtract. So negative x plus x zeroes away. So all I have remaining is y. The symbol just recopies. And then this positive x I'm going to write first, and then the positive 6 will follow. Okay, this has a y-intercept at positive 6. So I'm going to come up here to positive 6 on the y-axis. And then my slope is 1 over 1, which is up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. And I'm going to reverse it. Down 1, left 1, 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 down 1, left 1. So I plot a ton of points with my diagonal lines because I'm trying to find exactly where these colors are going to overlap, the points that enclose them. Okay, this one said y less than, so less than we shade below. So first let me make it a solid line, and then I'm going to shade below. Now, this is below, but I'm not putting any color there because none of my first color is there. So I'm just going to do it in this section right here. And there's nothing wrong with anybody shading here because it is below that line. It's just none of the other color is there, so I know the answers can't be there. Okay, this one will also be diagonal because x and y makes a diagonal line, but I need to solve for y first. So to move the x, I need to subtract it. So the positive 2y would remain. The symbol remains. I'm going to write the negative x first, and I'm going to write the positive 6 after. Okay, I'm not done because I have a 2 in front of the y. So I need to divide both sides by 2. Because I'm dividing by positive, this sign does not flip. This is a negative 1 in front of the x. So I look to see if negative 1 over 2 reduces, and it doesn't. So it just stays negative 1/2 x. And then 6 divided by 2 makes 3. Okay, so my y-intercept is a positive 3. So I'm going to come up to positive 3 on the y-axis. And then my slope is negative 1/2, which is telling me to go down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. So down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. Reverse it, up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. Okay, this is a solid line because of the equals. And do you think I shade above or below? Below. Y is less than is below. Okay, so this is below, but I don't have any of my red there, so I'm not going to bother. This is also below, but I don't have my other colors in there, so it's just going to be in here. And then I have to find the vertices that close those 3 colors in, which is this guy, and this guy. So these are the 3 points that close in the 3 overlapping colors. So this point, you go left 5 and up 1, so that's negative 5, 1. This point, you go left 2 and up 4, so that's negative 2, 4. Sheesh. Come on, negative 2. And this point, you go right 4 and up 1, so that's the point 4, 1. Okay, so which of our answer choices has those points? So negative 5, 1, negative 2, 4, 4, 1. There it is, answer choice C. Okay, so now D is asking for the minimum value if this is our equation. So I'm going to take these 3 points. I'm going to plug the x coordinate into the x, the y coordinate into the y, and see which of these 3 points gives me the smallest answer. Okay, so negative 5, first I'm going to plug that into the x. So for negative 5, 1. I'm putting negative 5 right there because that's the x coordinate, plus my y, and 1 is my y. And that makes negative 10 plus 1, which is negative 9. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing, but with the point negative 2, 4. Okay, so into the x, I'm going to put the negative 2. So 2 parentheses, get your negative 2 in there, plus y, plus 4, because 4 is my y. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Recopy the plus 4. And negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Okay, now I'm going to do it with my 4, 1. All right, into the x, I'm going to put the 4 because that's my x coordinate. So 2 parentheses 4. And then plus y, I'm going to put plus 1 because 1 is my y coordinate. Okay, so 2 times 4 is 8. Recopy the plus 1. And 8 plus 1 is 9. So this is asking for the minimum value. So which is the smallest answer we got? Negative 9, 0, or 9? Negative 9 is the smallest answer we got, so that is our minimum. So the answer is C. Okay, and then number 11 is asking for the maximum. So I've already done all of the work. So which is the biggest number? Positive 9 is the biggest number, so that's our maximum. So 9 is our maximum. So answer choice C. Okay, so the hardest part was the graphing and getting the vertices. And then once you get that, then you just take your ordered pair and you put the x coordinate in the x and the y coordinate in the y and just do a little order of operations. Okay, number 12. This is telling me to solve with substitution, but I am going to solve with the matrix instead. And it's ready. X's are on top of X's, Y's are on top of Y's, and constants on top of constants. Okay. So my calculator flew away from me, but I got it. All right, here I go. So I hit second x to the negative 1. The first time I'm in here, I go over to edit, hit enter. Now this one is not a 3 by 4 matrix. This one has 2 rows, so this should be a 2, and it has 1, 2, 3 columns, so this is a 3. This is a 2 by 3 matrix. And I'm going to type over the numbers that are already here. So 3, enter, 7, enter, 19, enter. Second row, there's a 1 in front of the x, 1, enter. There's a 1 in front of the y, 1, enter, and then 5, enter. Once you get your numbers in, you have to quit the screen. So second mode quits the screen. So second mode, I go back to matrix for time number 2. So second, x to the negative 1. The second time you're in here, you go to math and you look for letter B, R-R-E-F. There he is, hit enter. And then back to matrix for the third and final time. So second, x to the negative 1. And I want to call up the name A. So I just hit enter and enter again. And as long as these are 1s on the diagonal, then these are my answers. So 4, 1. And it does say submit your answer as an ordered pair. Use parentheses with a comma between your numbers, no spaces. So I wouldn't put any spaces between those. Okay, number 13 is telling me to solve this with elimination, but I'm gonna use the matrix. And it's ready. X is on top of X's, Y is on top of Y's, constants on top of constants. Here we go again. All right, so I go second, x to the negative 1. First time in here, go to edit. And this is a 2 by 3 matrix. 2 rows, 1, 2, 3 columns. So 2 by 3. So I've got a 3, enter, negative 2, enter, 4, enter. Second row, I've got 2, enter, 3, enter, 7, enter. Once you get your numbers in, quit the screen. So second mode, go to matrix again. So second, x to the negative 1. The second time you're in here, go to Math, go down to letter B, RREF, hit Enter, and then go to Matrix for the third time, second, x to the negative 1, and then you put everything in Matrix A, so hit Enter and Enter again. And once again, if these are 1s on this diagonal, then these are your answers. So 2, 1. And yes, I could have solved this by hand, but I chose not to. And when you take your test, you're welcome to do the same. Okay, we're almost there. All right, we got a little bit of more matrix work to do here. So they gave us a matrix for P, a matrix for Q, a matrix for R, and a matrix for S. Okay, number 14 wants to know the first row of RS. Because the R and S are smushed together, they want me to multiply R and S together. Okay, so I am going to put matrix R into A of my calculator, and I'm going to put matrix S into B of my calculator, and then I'm going to make the calculator multiply them and show me the first row. Okay, come here, handy dandy calculator. All right, so go to Matrix. I'm going over to Edit, and in Matrix A, I'm going to put this guy. It's got 2 rows and 1, 2, 3 columns, so it's a 2 by 3. So 4, enter, -5, enter, 2, enter. Second row, 8, enter, -1, enter, 3, enter. I'm going to quit my screen. So second mode. Now I need to put this into matrix B. So I'm going to go to matrix again, and I'm going back to edit, but this time I need to arrow down to letter B, and I'm going to put this guy in matrix B. Now this one is 1, 2, 3 rows, so 3 enter, and 1, 2 columns, so 2 enter. This is a 3 by 2 matrix. So 3 enter, 1 enter, 0 enter, 2 enter, -4 enter, and 5 enter. Okay, I'm going to quit my screen. And it says that I want to multiply them. So I'm going to call up the name matrix A and multiply it with matrix B. So I go to matrix. I'm going to call up the name A. So I just hit enter. So this time we're not going to Math RREF. I'm not doing that. Just go to the name A, hit my times button, and then I'm going to go back to matrix, and I'm going to arrow down to the name B, and I'm going to take matrix A times matrix B and hit enter. And the first row is 4, 4. So answer choice C is the winner. Okay, so I'm going to next find 5 times P minus 4 times Q. And I could do this by hand, but I'm just going to make the calculator do it. So I'm going to put matrix P into matrix A, and I'm going to put matrix Q into matrix B. And then I'm going to take 5 times this and subtract 4 times this. Okay, so to matrix we go. So second, x to the -1, I'm going over to edit, and I'm going to edit matrix A. This time it's 2 rows and 2 columns. It's a 2 by 2, so 2 enter, 2 enter. So my numbers are 3, 1, -4, and 0. And I'm sorry if this is dark. I probably should have turned this light on a long time ago. Is that better? I'm so sorry if it was too dark this whole time. I hope it wasn't. Okay, I'm going to quit this screen. Now I'm going to put this in matrix B. So back to matrix, and I'm going to go over to edit, but I have to arrow down to letter B. And this one is also 2 rows and 2 columns, so it is a 2 by 2. So we've got 0 enter, -0.25 enter, 1 enter, and 0.75 enter. Okay, every time I put my numbers in, I quit the screen. All right, so now I'm going to do what this says. So I'm going to take 5 times P, which is my matrix A, minus 4 times Q, which is my matrix B. Okay, so 5. Now I want to call up the name matrix A, so go to matrix. And in names, hit enter on A, minus 4. And I'm going to call up the name matrix B. So go to matrix, and in names, arrow down, and go to B. And so it looks just like the paper. And this is what I get. And it wants just the first row, and the first row is 15, 6. So A is our answer. Okay, so this one I can put in the calculator too. This could go in matrix A, this could go in matrix B, this could go in matrix C. I'm actually going to do this one by hand, just to do something by hand. So this says take 5 times all these numbers. So I'm taking 5 times 9, which is 45, 5 times negative 5, which is negative 25, and 5 times 6, which is 30. So that's my first matrix. There's nothing to do with the second matrix, so I'm just going to recopy it. So plus negative 1, negative 8, positive 8. And there's a couple ways to think of this. I'm going to think of this as negative 1/3 times that. And so this will now be a plus sign right here. So I want to take negative 1/3 times negative 21. So some of you may struggle with that. So I'm going to take negative 1/3 times negative 21. Oh, that's not a times. Times negative 21, and that makes 7. So I've got a 7 in here. Then I want to take negative 1/3 times 6. So negative 1/3 times 6, and that makes negative 2. And then I want to take negative 1/3 times 6, which is another negative 2. Okay, so when you go to add these, first you add all the top numbers. So I'm going to add 45 plus negative 1 plus 7. So 45 plus negative 1 is 44, and 44 plus 7 is 51. And then I'm going to add the second row. Negative 25 plus negative 8 is negative 33, plus a negative 2 is a negative 35. And then the last row, I'm adding 30 plus 8, which is 38, plus a negative 2, which is 36. And that puts me at answer choice C. And that's your review for the Unit 3 test. Okay, I hope you all do great. Smiley face.